Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrive Time Show, starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zoellner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top. Teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the C&Z up on your radio. And now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you.
Yes, 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 and yes. Thrive Nation, on today's show, we are going to be teaching you answers to business financing questions. We're joined here with Josh Spurl, a longtime client based in Canada. Josh, we've had the opportunity to serve you guys and work with you and since I think it's been 4 or 5 years at this point. I mean, you're looking younger all the time. It's hard to keep track.
Thanks, Clay. My wife doesn't think the same thing, but thanks for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. So Josh is an expert CPA based an accountant and based in Canada. And we're going to go over some questions. We had a listener they texted in today here. So this is the questions from the listener. Question number 1. What is the easiest, best place to get financing for a business? So Josh, I'm going to go first and then you can one-up me and I'll be taking notes. So that's going to be kind of a rhythm here. I'll answer, you one-up me. So here we go. When you're buying a business, try not to get a loan. So my pro tip is when buying a business, I'm taking notes here, try not to get a loan. What am I saying? I'm saying that it is possible to do owner financing. And so a lot of times owners will say, hey, if you pay 5% down payment, so I know you're serious, you can make payments to me over the next 10 years or 7 years or whatever. Then you don't have to deal with the bank. You don't have to deal with compliance. You don't have to deal with the Canadian government, the U.S. government. That would be my recommendation. Josh, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, vendor financing is the best place to do it for sure. Beyond vendor financing, it's, you're probably going to look at some home equity options. But even if you look at home equity options, I would caution business owners that it's not an all or none proposition. Just because you're going to put some of your home equity in or some of your savings in, you can still get some of it done with vendor financing. And then, the number 3 probably reverts back to the government-sponsored loans. So you're talking in the U.S., the Small Business Administration loans, or in Canada, the Canada Small Business Financing loans.
Now, what I would recommend, I'll break this down into steps here. Kind of my step 1 is I would strongly encourage most people not to buy a business. That seems probably counterintuitive for a podcast show, but James, every day you and I, we sell tickets to the conferences, do we not?
We do, every single day.
And so every day, correct me if I'm wrong, you get here about 6:45.
Yes, sir.
And I'm here, right?
Yes, sir.
You come by, you give me a fist bump.
That's right.
And then you're selling tickets and I'm doing podcasts and whatever I'm doing till we usually leave about 6 or 7. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
And we do it every day. And most people fall off around Thursday or Friday or Saturday. And very few people understand the grind needed to grow a successful thing. And so every day, every week, forever, I will always work 6 days a week. I will always do it. I will not work 38 hours. I will not work 40 hours a week. And in America, in 1938, FDR introduced the 40-hour work week. FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and his lesbian wife, they introduced the Fair Labor Standards Act, which introduced the 40-hour work week. But up to that point, the settlers who settled Canada, who settled America, these homeboys and homegirls, the settlers, the pioneers, they worked as long as it took to become successful. And many of them read the Bible and they believed in Genesis and Exodus and the concept of the 6-day work week. Work on 6 and rest on the 7th. That was a concept that was there for a long time. Work 6 days, observe the Sabbath. And I find that most people today are used to the Klaus Schwab World Economic Forum 4-day work week. That's a real thing. The Klaus Schwab is pushing the 4-day work week, or they're used to the FDR and his lesbian wife's 40-hour work week. But very few people are used to the 6-day work week that is required to build a successful company. So, Josh, I'd love to get your thoughts on just, people that haven't been self-employed buying a business.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the most common reasons for starting the business is, it's work-life freedom. And it's a statistical myth, so it's not, you talked on the historical prevalence of it. I'm from Western Canada on the prairies here. It could be minus 40 in the winter. If the people who came here before us had worked 4 days out of the week, they would have starved and died. Like, it's just not practical, right? And when you look at modern day business, it's not just like an opinion. Like, the Harvard Business Review has actually studied this, and they'll find that most successful entrepreneurs are likely working 6 days a week and in excess of 60 hours. So it's not that you can't do it, but it's kind of like entering into the boxing ring with one hand tied behind your back. It's you're just making it incredibly difficult on yourself, right? And that's why 96% will fail, because they believe things like that, where it should be easier working 4 days a week. It's not. It's trying to win a drag race with a pickup truck. It's very hard.
Now, I'll give people an example. Like today, we're removing a tree because we have a conference coming up here in this week, a big business conference, and we have a helicopter that's flying in and giving people helicopter rides at the conference. It's kind of a fun thing we're doing. You can win a helicopter ride. And James, the helicopter doesn't want to land next to the dead tree. Why does the helicopter pilot guy not want to land his helicopter next to the dead tree?
Probably so it doesn't blow off the dead limbs onto people's cars.
Keep going.
Or into any helicopter parts, or into the building, or into anybody around the area.
Keep going.
And potentially could be an excuse for the helicopter guy not even to come here at all.
The helicopter guy, he gets paid. We pay him. He likes us. But he doesn't want to park his helicopter next to a tree that might fall down for a lot of reasons. So he says, if I'm going to come fly the helicopter, you got to remove the tree. Now, the problem is today's Monday, and I committed to hopping on the show today with Josh Spurl at 1:30. So at 1:20, I'm not kidding, you saw me, at 1:18, I had to go outside and explain to the tree guy what tree to remove and where to put it. Then I had to hop back in and hop on this show at 1:31. It was crazy. And that's what being an entrepreneur is all about. It's not like I could plan it out and go, well, I think in Q2, I'm going to go ahead and remove the tree, and then Q3, we'll do the helicopter. And it's more dynamic than that. So, Josh, we'd love to get your thoughts on this idea of, so somebody out there, step one, I recommend just ask yourself if you're willing to work 6 days a week. Step two, when buying a business, try not to get a loan if at all possible. Try to do financing through that vendor or through that business owner, if at all possible, owner financing. Third, I would recommend not entangling yourself with the government at all, ever, if at all possible. And you are an accountant, so you know what it's like to deal with the government. I'm a business consultant, and I know people that run their business. They're super excited to go get a small business loan, and now they fail when the banks do compliance tests. I know people, this has happened, and they got a loan. The government wants them to maintain solid financials, and they've never maintained solid financials their whole life. And so they kind of slap some numbers on stuff. They go to a non-reputable CPA firm to see if that CPA firm will validate their bogus numbers to get that loan that they barely qualify for. And now the government wants them to maintain clean financials as a kind of a string attached to the loan, to the financing. And this is difficult for them because they've never maintained solid numbers before. And this would be difficult for them in the future because they haven't done it in the past. Well, let me get your thoughts on what happens once you start getting government loans and government grants and government entanglement in your business.
Well, yeah, Clay, I mean, you're kind of right in that it's not even just the government loans. It's just the conventional commercial financing loans. Like you're just inviting the bank into your business altogether, right? And for that reason, we get a lot of people who reach out and they want to say, hey, can you help us qualify for financing? But it's really unethical for me to, sell that service on its own without any ongoing maintenance at the end of it, because it's just like, It's like selling someone a car, but not teaching them how to drive and just hoping that they're going to figure it out after, right? So they're 9 times out of 10, they're just going to get themselves into a lot of trouble, and they're going to have this loan that they can't pay back. They don't know how to make decisions, and then they think it's the next loan that's going to help them out. And so it's really important when people try to, when they go and acquire debt, it's like, do they actually know what they're doing? Because it's
Now,
I think.
Let me give the listeners out there an example here. We had one person, and this doesn't happen all the time. This does not happen all the time. But we had one person who reached out to me and said, "Clay, I'd love to speak at one of your conferences." And James, some of our conferences will stream to over 1 million people. I mean, the average one's like 1.2, 1.3 million people that'll stream to between all the streaming partners. And this is a doctor. And he says to me, "I would love to hop on your stage and to share what I know about what's going on." I said, "Sure." He said, "I'd love to." And he says, "I'm going to do it." He said, "What do you need from me?" I said, you need nothing other than just to be on time and send me your bio." And this guy, like the idea of getting me the bio, I think it was almost impossible to him. He's not an entrepreneur. He's a doctor. And so he's like, "What do you mean send me the bio?" And I said, I gave him an example to begin with. I said, just a 2-line bio. He's like, "Well, I have this degree and that degree and this degree and that degree." And I go, "I know, but I need just 2 lines because that's how I'm going to introduce you." And he says, "Well, and you can just tell he's not an entrepreneur because he's used to like, well, can we set up a Zoom call to talk about?" I said, no. This is a phone call. You need to send me your bio. But and he said, "Well, then what else do you need?" I said, I need that. So then it's like the week before I call all the great speakers and any new speaker, this is par for the course. I say, "Send me your favorite headshot so I can slap it on the flyer. And then your speaking time is at this time." And he goes, "Well, as a doctor, it's tough though, because my schedule changes a lot. It's hard for me to keep a time. And I do a lot of telemedicine. So if I have to speak at 1:15, I don't know if I can commit to that. And I don't even know where I would go to get a headshot. I mean, I don't even know." So I'm going, wow, true story. So guy flies in, lands to the city, and he's blowing me up on the phone. Like, "Who's going to pick me up at the airport?" And I'm going, "As previously stated, you have to get yourself to the event." And he's like, "What hotel would I stay in?" I'm going, "You need to book your own hotel, book your own car, get your own bio, get your own head." He's like, "I don't have a PR company like you." And I'm going, "I do all of it myself, man." The point is, this guy wasn't resourceful. He wasn't resourceful, and he wanted resources, okay? So as I got a chance to small talk with him backstage, he was like, "Man, I don't know how you do it. I tried being a self-employed doctor, and it just bombed." And I'm thinking, I know why. So let's talk about that, just a personality type. I know we're talking about, how to get financing for a business loan, but what kind of personality type just should not go into business ownership?
I mean, you touched it. You touched a couple of key ones. It's the people who can't problem solve. They think that it is, resources when it's just lack of resourcefulness. That's normally the issue. And they think that it's financing when again it's just resourcefulness. The example I always give to people is like, someone comes into my office and say, "I want to start $1 million new steakhouse. It's $1 million to build it out." Baby. It's like, can you get me there? And I'm like, "Yeah, for sure, I can get you there." I was like, "Oh, how?" And then they're really interested. I was like, "Well, step one, we're going to cater from our kitchen for a couple of years.
There it is.
And after we cater from our kitchen for a couple of years, then we're going to take those profits and we're going to buy a food truck. And after we buy that food truck, then we're going to make some money and we're going to invest in a restaurant that someone else left on pennies on the dollar. It's not going to be the restaurant you want, but it's going to be the one that we can afford. Then after that, we're going to show some financial performance, and then we'll go to the bank, and then they'll give us a loan." They say, "Great. How long is that going to take?" And I tell them, "A decade." Now it's that short-term thinker. They're just out of it, right? But, it's my experience is the person who wouldn't start, if it's going to take 10 years, they're going to fail anyways. The one who needed it to happen overnight, they'll just fail anyways.
Okay, now that's step number 5. You have to determine the value of the business. Now, I am saying this to you, and feel free to disagree, but in America today, most American banks today, this isn't saying Canada, this is American banks today, they're usually willing to provide you for a loan equal to 2.5 times the profit of the business plus the assets. So, James, if you wanted to buy a restaurant today, say you wanted to buy a restaurant today, okay, and the restaurant was doing $3 million a year of revenue, but the business did $100,000 a year of profit. The average bank today in Tulsa, in America, and I have clients in all 50 states. They're all over the country, I mean, probably have 45 states represented. The local bank will say the profit of the restaurant times 2.5 plus assets. That's all we're going to give you. And so the guy who's selling the restaurant says, My business is worth $850,000. Woo! You know, Ric Flair. Woo! And the banker goes, love the whole thing. Love the story. Love how busy you are. Love how long you've been around. Love your menus. Love the idea that your dad started it. Love that you're locally made, farm to table, all that. But all I'm going to do is the profit times 2.5. So I'm going to go ahead and authorize a loan for $250,000 if the new owner can put 20% down and the assets. And because you're leasing the space and you don't own the building, that's not an asset. That's a liability in my mind. And so I'll authorize $300,000 maximum loan for this restaurant. And then the new buyer says, but come on, man, they do $3 million a year of business. And the person selling it says, my grandfather started it. You know, Luigi, he started the business. He moved it from Italy. He started the business, and he used to grind the pepper. And there's always a story. He used to grind the pepper. He moved it from the foothills of Italy, and he made lasagna, and he was that's great, but it's still going to be profit times 2.5 plus assets. Love to get your thoughts on what kind of rules of thumb for determining the value of a business. In this case, let's say it's a restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, most private businesses, even just like restaurants or go outside of it, you could have the local plumbing business. Most private businesses are going to trade between 3 and 5 times normalized earnings. And when we talk normalized earnings, it's like we got to be paying a fair salary to the owners that are running it. We have to have paid our taxes. And then what's left over after that, that's the normalized earnings, right? And the banks tend to be more historians than anything, because often a business owner will have they'll do $2 million this year, and then last year they did $1 million, and the bank's just like, well, okay, now your average is 1.5. It's not 2 million, right? They're not going to look at that. So when you say that in the US, the banks are willing to finance 2.5 times earnings, it's like, yeah, because most businesses are 3 to 5 times, and they want the owner to have some skin in the game. They don't want to be doing these.
So is it safe to say that if there's a restaurant doing $3 million of revenue at $100,000 a year of profit, that's after paying the owner, all the employees, everybody, rough idea what the business would be worth?
Yeah, it's a restaurant, so I don't think it's going to encroach on the 5 times earnings. I just think it's too risky of a business, so it's probably going to be in the 3 to 4. So it's $100,000, it's $300,000 to $400,000, and the bank's going to lend you no more than the $250,000.
You're being negative right now. Ooh, you're being negative. Now the next, this is big though. This is big stuff. Okay. Now the next question this person had, and this is kind of step 6, is they want to know what's the process like of getting an SBA loan or a government loan, and how long does it take? So again, I find that if you as the buyer have good financials, which I've yet to work with a client who does have good financials before I help them, and if you, the seller, have great financials, and I've yet to work with a seller who has great financials, if those things are perfectly aligned and we weren't dealing with the chaos that we are dealing with right now in Canada and America with the governments, it would take 6 months. That's just me, my experience. I'd love to get your thoughts. Maybe it's faster, maybe it's slower. I'd love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, buying a business, I would say I prepare people the shortest time is going to be 90 days. Like that's kind of the 90 days. And it blows their mind because usually the only financing deal that most people have ever done is buying a house, right? And so they're used to, looking for mortgage financing for, 1 to 2 weeks or something. But they don't realize like how systematized that industry is, and how subjective corporate financing is, and how many layers there are to it, and how much competition is. So the banks just really aren't that motivated to turn those files around quickly because they have more applicants than they're ever going to fund.
That's true. And this is big stuff. So James, I want to get this idea for you. Okay. So right now, for our conferences, we always tell people it's $250 or whatever price they want to pay. Right. We do that. And every conference we do, they're always sold out. But when I book the venue, book the flat screens, book the porta potties, book the sound system, book the band, book the speakers, those are all expenses.
Yes, sir.
And are those expenses going to go down just because I have a great attendance or bad attendance?
No, sir.
And that's called the fixed costs. So I know that going to every conference that I do, these big conferences, they usually cost me $300,000 to $400,000 to put on. And you say, why? I said, well, why don't you show up on Thursday and watch the massive team of people it takes to erect a stage and sound system capable of accommodating 5,000 people. Then go have a conversation with the people who are erecting the structures, and then go talk to the guy who's the porta potty guy, and then talk to the band, and then talk about what hotels cost, and then talk about vendor booths. And so it's a lot of money. I think a lot of people don't think about the fixed costs and the variable cost. Now, the variable cost, every time we sell a ticket, we award our sales team a commission. So if someone buys a ticket for $1, let's say, then there's a 4% commission that goes out to the salesperson. That's a variable expense. And then you have a fixed cost. Can you talk, just kind of break it down, brass tacks, Josh, for people out there that maybe are new to that term of because the next step 7, is you have to determine your variable and fixed costs of running that business.
Yeah, I would say most people underestimate the fixed costs of businesses. So, I study the numbers, for various industries in Canada, and we look at, we say 96% of businesses fail, but when we study like businesses between 30,000 a year and $5 million a year in revenue, I completely exclude, I can find the data for the top 25% of performers, right? And the top 25 performers, it's like almost in every industry is going to be more than $1 million, because when you start looking at less than $1 million, it's just incredibly challenging to overcome those fixed costs, even if your margins and your pricing are okay.
Now we're gonna move into kind of the solutions phase here. So what I'm gonna do is, a lot of people are in Canada right now. A lot of people are in America, and they're going, well, how do I get a hold of you guys? What kind of solutions can you provide for me? We'll start here. ThriveTimeShow.com. We do 2-day interactive business workshops. Josh has actually been to multiple workshops from Canada. He's been to these workshops. They're in America. They're in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I do them every 2 months. At this point, we have over 2,200 objective testimonials of clients that we've helped to grow their businesses. I mean, it's pretty wild at this point. There's so many of them, and you can go watch them all. Also, we have Google reviews and all that, but you can also name your price. So you $250 or whatever price you can afford to pay. And that's what we do. And then we also have one-on-one business consulting, and I'll tell you more about that, folks, during part 2 of today's show. But Josh, you have a lot of solutions that you provide for Canadians up there. Tell us, how do we get to your website there, sir?
So it's Spurrell, Spurrell, CPA. And if you want to chat with us, you can fill out the contact us form, and the team will get you set up with a free consult, and we'll give you a copy of my book that has, kind of the 100 common mistakes that everybody thinks are, true about business, but it's actually false. So you can, read the book and save yourself a whole pile of money.
You guys have been booming up there. I mean, you guys have had, how long have you and I worked together now?
I think it was 2018, Clay. I'm trying to run it back in my head, but I think about 5 years. 2018. Yeah.
How much have you grown since 2018 as far as a percentage?
Oh man, I'd have to look it up, but it's a few 100% at this point.
And I want to brag on you, because what's interesting is that when you work with a client, you say, Mr. Client, if I'm going to help you with your financials, I need you to get your numbers, I need you to bring in certain bank statements, and I can help you. But you can't help them if they won't comply, if they won't bring in those things, they won't put in the work. You can't help them. And business consulting for me very much works the same way. And working with you has always been a life-giving thing, because you implement the processes and you provide a great service, and therefore it's a win-win for everybody. People are happy to find you. New customers are happy to discover you. It's great to serve you. For anybody out there who's listening, who you may be able to help and provide those services to, tell us, what are some of these services you provide? Maybe who's a good fit for you?
I would say our main services are fractional CFO service. So these are, primarily companies that, have $1 million or more revenue, and, we're updating their numbers every 2 weeks. And then, we're actually sitting down and looking over their numbers with the business owner and with the CPA every single month. And really, I tell people, if you're the CEO of the business and you can't meet with your CFO every single month, it's like, that's kind of at a minimum, as far as chances of success. And that's what we help business owners to do.
Final question for you here. If you had to give a final word of encouragement to anybody out there who's thinking about buying a business, and again, I'm not saying this person who asked the question, I don't know if they've ever owned a business or not. I don't know if they have or haven't, but I know they're a longtime listener. What would you say to anybody out there who hasn't bought a business before and they're thinking about buying a restaurant?
And they're thinking about buying a restaurant. It's like, I mean, you really have to understand the lease and the cost of that real estate, because that's one of those businesses that's really tied to that space. And I'll have people bring in the financials, and they ask me, it's like, what's on my checklist? Like, I need a copy of that lease. We have to understand how much how much longer you're going to be in there at that price, and what are your options to renew. Because if you don't have clear options to renew, that restaurant could be completely gone. For all you know, that restaurant, that property owner, they're going to go sell to a condo developer in 2 years, and your restaurant business is done.
Why do you think, again, 96% of businesses fail by default, according to Inc. magazine and other publications? Why do you think in restaurants it's even higher? Why do you think that, 96% of businesses fail, but in restaurants it's even higher?
I don't know if it's that much different than other businesses, other than it's maybe a little harder to track, but ultimately it always comes down to customers, cash flow, and team. And so on the customers end, they don't understand how to bring customers into the restaurant. On the cash flow side, they don't actually know how to price their product or service. And then maybe when we get to team, which is usually the hardest problem to solve in any business, it's just an industry where you need a lot of people and there's high turnover. So it exacerbates the hardest problem with business.
I'd love to get your thoughts here, James. For anybody out there who, people, it's amazing how many. I have kids, so my kids, they have their friends have dads. It's amazing how many of them are shocked that I work 6 days a week, and I don't bring it up. Like, I don't say, "How are you? Good to meet you." By the way, I work 6 days a week. I don't do that. I don't even talk about it. But what happens is they always come to my house and I always go, "Wow, what do you do for a living?" It's always the same way. And I go, "I run companies." Like, "Oh, wow, must be nice." And they go, "Well, what's your work schedule like?" And I go, "I work 6 days a week." And they go, "From when to when?" I'm like, "I get up at 3 and I work till 6." I just like my flow. I'm not saying that's a life tip. I'm just saying that's what I do. And every time they're like, "What? You work 6 days a week? What about your family?" They always go into the family argument. "Oh, what about your family?" I guess, which implies I don't care about my family because I work 6 days a week. Interesting. So what would you say, James, for anybody out there that's just not used to working 6 days a week? They're just not used to putting in the grind. What would you say? Because you do it. I mean, you're not, you work here, you do a great job. What would you say to anybody out there that just hasn't done the 6 day work week before?
Give it a try. It's good for your heart. It's good for your soul. You'll feel more purpose and you'll get more out of life.
And you won't be wearing your pajamas at 10 a.m. on a Saturday. Or 2 p.m. on a Saturday. Right?
That's right.
All right, Josh Spurl, I appreciate you, sir. Thank you for joining us. We'll harass you next week, okay?
Sounds good, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Thomas Crossan, owner and founder of Full Package Media in Dallas, Texas. I've been a coaching client with Clay Clark since the beginning of our business. We started about a year ago, August of last year. I had no clients, no idea what we were doing, no clue really what was going on. And now we've grown to where we've got 6 photographers, we've got office space here. I have an admin, sales person that works for us full time, developing an online system. And a lot of that growth we attribute to Clay helping us. And there's so many things that, his stuff is not, revolutionary. It's not this crazy walk on hot coals and all this stuff. It's just real stuff. And like group interviews, we were totally against group interviews. We were like, no, we're different and we're special, and we need to, do one-on-one interviews so we can find good quality candidates and not just kind of do this group interview thing. And we tried that and we failed miserably. We did group interviews. Now we do them every 2 weeks. And it's awesome. It works good. We always have kind of an influx of new people that we can train, get going. He's helped us a lot with our website, graphic design, SEO. SEO is another thing that I thought before I started this business and before Clay that it was kind of a joke, or something that only your Apples of the world and Amazon could get to the top of Google. But Clay said, no, just do these things. Follow these steps and you'll get there. And I think now we look today and we're number 2 for Dallas real estate photography. If you don't believe me, you can look. So we're getting to the top of there. That's really cool. It's really awesome to get leads that people will call you and say, hey, I found you on Google. We want to hear about your services. So that's really great. I'd say there's nobody out there that's not a good coaching client for Clay. Anyone, regardless of the business, it's not about what the business is, what the specialty is. It's about following the steps, doing what he says. It's a good thing. An hour a week, it gets you on track and keeps you kind of in line of what you're doing and what you shouldn't be doing. And it's good to kind of give you some flow and future goals of your business. And I remember our first meeting, we set our goals, and our goal was to do 16 shoots a week. And at the time, me and my business partner / girlfriend Gretchen were like, "Oh, we're never gonna do 16 a week. That's just like crazy." And today we're doing 9, and we did about 54 last week. So he's helped us grow. We've put in a lot of hours, a lot of hard work as well. But if you follow his steps and do what he says, there's a lot of principles that he's kind of taught and instilled in us that help us. So Clay Clark is the way to go. I wouldn't venture out to find someone else. They'd be more expensive and a lot more fluff and no real actionable work and things to get your business growing. So that's the way to go. Thanks.
I showed you.
Jimmy!
You smell like a winner. You want to smell like
Ladies and gentlemen, the judges score.
The Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the highest and most reviewed business workshops on the planet.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, "Oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop." And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick,
sales for this week,
hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage
Michael,
you to not believe what I'm saying. And I want you
Jason,
to Google
can you kind of pull this in maybe, just so you can see it? It's kind of pull it that way. Let's get the link. That's more of a link. I can't tell that the link. It's hard to tell.
And say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't want it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see it.
There it is. Awesome.
I baked from home for years as I was raising my children and teaching, and it was there that people continually said year after year, "Kat, you really need to go into business. You should open a bakery." And I'm thinking, I don't have time to open a bakery. I'm raising 2 kids. I'm getting my master's degree. Not to mention, I know nothing about business. So here I am, I'm super thrilled. My little bakery is being built in Bixby and all is well. We move into the new bakery. The excitement is like over the top. And 3 weeks into it, my husband and I separate. Talk about a blow. That was the most difficult thing I had ever experienced to date. I had that blow, and I did have to make a decision. Am I going to be a big girl? Am I going to get better, or am I going to give up? I couldn't give up. I'm a divorced woman. I have to earn a living. And so 18-hour days, bring it on. Let's do this thing. 4 years later, my business partner's husband, Deemer, asked me a question one day. He said, "Kat, are you going to continue treating this business like a hobby, or are you going to treat it like a business?" That was huge for me. That was super significant in pushing me to get help, pushing me to find a way to make it work. Through several people encouraging me to become a thriver with Thrive 15 was without question the pivotal moment in my business. I went from lacking some confidence to becoming empowered through knowledge of how to grow a business. Our sales are 50% plus what they were a year ago. I feel I've regained confidence in myself as an entrepreneur and in my business. Becoming educated through Thrive 15 is what made the difference.
My name is Sharita Bent, and I work on the leadership team here at Thrive15.com. Our team is a group of dynamic individuals, and we work really hard to deliver the goods for our clients. We have a variety of clients. Gosh, we work with people in all industries, dentists, bakers, doctors, lawyers. We work with people stateside. We work with people abroad. Really, we don't have any limits to who will help. We help them with search engine optimization, marketing, making a logo, your business card, what's the most effective way to have your website look cutting edge, branding, social media, leadership skills. I mean, the list just, I could keep going and going and going. Whereas a company may have a budget for branding or a budget for their advertising. We can take all of those things, handle them here in-house, give you excellent results quickly, efficiently, and for a fraction of the cost. So that's our deal. The one thing that you hear over and over is the excitement and the gratitude for the results that we get for them. Most times people are moved to tears, literally, because they just have maybe been stuck in a place where they're maybe not hitting the goals that they have for themselves, or maybe they are just having no profitability at all. And so it's really neat when we can help them. That is the recurring thing that really warms your heart and makes you really excited for the customer too. We have a system, it works. If you work the system will work for you. And so it's like a win-win. We have something that we know totally works. So you can't beat that.
The number of new customers that we've had is up 411% over last year. We are Jared and Jennifer Johnson. We own Platinum Pest and Lawn and are located in Owasso, Oklahoma. And we have been working with Thrive for business coaching for almost a year now.
Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to share some wins with you guys that we've had by working with Thrive. First of all, we're on the top page of Google now. Okay. I just want to let you know what type of accomplishment this is. Our competition, Orkin, Terminex, they're both $1.3 billion companies. They both have 2,000 to 3,000 pages of content attached to their website. So to basically go from virtually non-existent on Google to up on the top page is really saying something. But that's come by being diligent to the systems that Thrive has, by being consistent and diligent on doing podcasts and staying on top of those podcasts to really help with getting up on with their listing and ranking there with Google.
And also we've been trying to get Google reviews, asking our customers for reviews. And now we're the highest rated and most reviewed pest and lawn company in the Tulsa area. And that's really helped with our conversion rate. And the number of new customers that we've had is up 411% over last year.
Wait, say that again. How much are we up?
411%.
Okay, so 411% we're up with our new customers. Amazing.
Right. So not only do we have more customers calling in, we're able to close those deals at a much higher rate than we were before. Right now, our closing rate is about 85%, and that's largely due to, first of all, our Google reviews that we've gotten. People really see that our customers are happy, but also we have a script that we follow. And so when customers call in, they get all the information that they need. That script has been refined time and time again. It wasn't a one and done deal. It was a system that we followed with Thrive in the refining process, and that has obviously the 411% shows that system works.
Yeah. So here's a big one for you. So last week alone, our booking percentage was 91%. We actually booked more deals, more new customers last year than we did the first 5 months. Or I'm sorry, we booked more deals last week than we did the first 5 months of last year from before we worked with Thrive. So again, we booked more deals last week than the first 5 months of last year. And it's incredible. But the reason why we have that success is by implementing the systems that Thrive has taught us and helped us out with. So.
Some of those systems that we've implemented are group interviews. That way we've really been able to come up with a really great team. We've created and implemented checklists. That way everything gets done and it gets done right. It creates accountability. We're able to make sure that everything gets done properly, both out in the field and also in our office. And also doing the podcast, like Jared had mentioned, that has really, really contributed to our success. But that, like I said, the diligence and consistency in doing those and that system has really, really been a big blessing in our lives. And also, it's really shown that we've gotten the success from following those systems.
Yeah. So before working with Thrive, we were basically stuck. Really no new growth with our business. And we were in a rut and we didn't know.
The last 3 years, our customer base had pretty much stayed the same. We weren't shrinking, but we weren't really growing either.
Yeah, and so we didn't really know where to go, what to do, how to get out of this rut that we're in. But Thrive helped us with that. They implemented those systems. That they taught us those systems. They taught us the knowledge that we needed in order to succeed. Now it's been a grind. Absolutely, it's been a grind this last year. But we're getting those fruits from that hard work and the diligent effort that we're able to put into it. So again, we were in a rut. Thrive helped us get out of that rut. And if you're thinking about working with Thrive, quit thinking about it and just do it. Do the action, and you'll get the results. It will take hard work and discipline, but that's what it's going to take in order to really succeed. So we just want to give a big shout out to Thrive, a big thank you out there to Thrive. We wouldn't be where we're at now without their help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Moore. I'm a pediatric dentist. Through our new digital marketing plan, we have seen a marked increase in the number of new patients that we're seeing every month, year over year. 1 month, for example, we went from 110 new patients the previous year to over 180 new patients in the same month. And overall, our average is running about 40 to 42% increase month over month, year over year. The group of people required to implement our new digital marketing plan is immense, starting with a business coach, videographers, photographers, web designers. Back when I graduated dental school in 1985, nobody advertised. The only marketing that was ethically allowed in everybody's eyes was mouth-to-mouth marketing. By choosing to use the services, you're choosing to use a proven turnkey marketing and coaching system that will grow your practice and get you the results that you're looking for. I went to the University of Oklahoma College of Dentistry, graduated in 1983, and then I did my pediatric dental residency at Baylor College of Dentistry from 1983 to 1985.
Hello, my name is Charles Kolaw with Kolaw Fitness. Today I want to tell you a little bit about Clay Clark and how I know Clay Clark. Clay Clark has been my business coach since 2017. He's helped us grow from 2 locations to now 6 locations. We're planning to do 7 locations in 7 years and then franchise. And Clay has done a great job of helping us navigate anything that has to do with like running the business, building the systems, the checklists, the workflows, the audits, how to navigate lease agreements, how to buy property, how to work with brokers and builders. This guy is just amazing. He's this kind of guy has worked in every single industry. He's written books with like Lee Cockrell, head of Disney, with the 40,000 cast members. He's friends with like Mike Lindell. He does Reawaken America tours where he does these tours all across the country where 10,000 or more people show up to some of these tours. On the day-to-day, he does anywhere from about 160 companies. He's at the top. He has a team of business coaches, videographers, and graphic designers and web developers, and they run 160 companies every single week. So think of this guy with a team of business coaches running 160 companies. So in the weekly, he's running 160 companies. Every 6 to 8 weeks, he's doing Reawaken America tours. Every 6 to 8 weeks, he's also doing business conferences where 200 people show up, and he teaches people a 13-step proven system that he's done and worked with billionaires, helping them grow their companies. So I've seen guys from startups go from startup to being multimillionaires, teaching people how to get time freedom and financial freedom through the system. critical thinking, document creation, putting it into organizing everything in their head to building into a franchisable, scalable business. Like one of his businesses has like 500 franchises. That's just one of the companies or brands that he works with. So amazing guy. Elon Musk kind of like smart guy. He kind of comes off sometimes as socially awkward, but he's so brilliant and he's taught me so much. When I say that, like Clay is like, he doesn't care what people think when you're talking to him. He cares about where you're going in your life and where he can get you to go. And that's what I like most about him. He's like a good coach. A coach isn't just making you feel good all the time. A coach is actually helping you get to the best you. And Clay has been an amazing business coach. Through the course of that, we became friends. I was really most impressed with him is when I was shadowing him one time. We went into a business deal and listened to it. I got to shadow and listen to it. And when we walked out, I knew that he could make millions on the deal. And they were super excited about working with him. And he told me, he's like, I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to turn it down because he knew it was going to harm the common good of people in the long run. And the guy's integrity just really wowed me. It brought tears to my eyes to see that this guy, his highest desire was to do what's right. And anyways, just an amazing man. So anyways, impacted me a lot. He's helped navigate anytime I've got nervous or worried about how to run the company or, navigating competition and an economy that's like, I remember we got closed down for 3 months. He helped us navigate on how to stay open, how to get back open, how to just survive through all the COVID shutdowns, lockdowns, because our clubs were all closed for.
I'm Rachel with Tip Top Canine, and we just want to give a huge thank you to Clay and Vanessa Clark.
Hey guys, I'm Ryan with Tip Top Canine. Just want to say a big thank you to Thrive 15. Thank you to Make Your Life Epic. We love you guys, we appreciate you, and really just appreciate how far you've taken us. This is our old house, right? This is where we used to live a few years ago. This is our old neighborhood. As you can see, it's nice, right? So this is my old van and our old school marketing, and this is our old team. And by team, I mean it's me and another guy.
This is our new house with our new neighborhood.
This is our new van with our new marketing, and this is our new team. We went from 4 to 14, and I took this beautiful photo. We worked with several different business coaches in the past, and they were all about helping Ryan sell better and just teaching sales, which is awesome, but Ryan is a really great salesman. So we didn't need that. We needed somebody to help us get everything that was in his head out into systems, into manuals and scripts, and actually build a team. So now that we have systems in place, we've gone from 1 to 10 locations in only a year.
In October 2016, we grossed 13 grand for the whole month. Right now it's 2018, the month of October. It's only the 22nd. We've already grossed a little over 50 grand for the whole month, and we still have time to go. We're just thankful for you, thankful for Thrive and your mentorship, and we're really thankful that you guys have helped us to grow a business that we run now instead of the business running us. Just thank you times 1,000.
The Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the highest and most reviewed business workshops on the planet.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.
Hey, I'm Ryan Wimpy with Tip Top Canine, and I'm the founder.
I'm Rachel Wimpy, and I am a co-founder.
So we've been running Tip Top for about the last 14 years, franchising for the last 3-4 years. So someone that'd be a good fit for Tip Top loves dogs, they're high energy, they want to be able to own their own job, but they don't want to worry about, that high failure rate. They want to do that like bowling with bumper lanes.
So you give us a call, reach out to us, and we'll call you, and then we'll send you an FDD, look over that, read it, fall asleep to it, it's very boring, and then we'll book a discovery day, and you come and you can spend a day or two with us to make sure that you actually like it, make sure training dogs is something that you want to do.
So an FDD is a franchise disclosure document. It's a federally regulated document that goes into all the nitty-gritty details of what the franchise agreement entails.
So who would be a good fit to buy a Tip Top Canine would be somebody who loves dogs, who wants to work with dogs all day as their profession. You'll make a lot of money, you'll have a lot of fun, it's very rewarding. And who would not be a good fit is a cat person.
So the upfront cost for Tip Top is $43,000. And a lot of people say they're generating doctor money, but on our disclosure, the numbers are anywhere from over $1 million a year in dog training, what our Oklahoma City location did last year, to 25, 35 grand a month.
To train and get trained by us for Tip Top Canine, to run your own Tip Top Canine, you would be with us for 6 weeks here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
So we've been married for 7 years.
8 years.
8 years. So if you're watching this video, you're like, hey, maybe I want to be a dog trainer. Hey, that one sounds super amazing. Go to our website, tiptopcanine.com, click on the yellow franchising tab, fill out the form, and Rachel and I will give you a call. Our Oklahoma City location last year, they did over $1 million. He's been running that shop for 3 years. Before, he was a youth pastor with 0 sales experience, 0 dog training experience before he ever met with us.
So just call us, come spend a day with us, spend a couple days with us, make sure you like training dogs, and own your own business.
Well, the biggest reason to buy a Tip Top Canine is so you own your own job and you own your own future, and you don't hate your life. You get an enjoyable job that brings a lot of income, but is really rewarding.
My name is Seth Flint, and I had originally heard about Tip Top Canine through my old pastors who I worked for. They trained their Great Pyrenees with Ryan and Tip Top Canine. They did a phenomenal job and became really good friends with Ryan and Rachel. I was working at a local church, and it was a great experience. I ended up leaving there and working with Ryan and Tip Top Canine. The biggest thing that I really enjoy about being self-employed is that I can create my own schedule. I have the ability to spend more time with my family, my wife and my daughter. So my very favorite thing about training dogs with Tip Top Canine is that I get to work with the people. Obviously, I love working with dogs, but it's just so rewarding to be able to train a dog that had serious issues, whether it's behavioral or whatever, and seeing a transformation, taking that dog home, and mom and dad are literally in tears because of how happy they are with the training. If somebody is interested, I'd say don't hesitate. Make sure you like dogs. Make sure that you enjoy working with people, because we're not just dog trainers. We are customer service people that help dogs, and so definitely don't hesitate. Just come in and ask questions. Ask all the questions you have.